don't you want to win with us? What is the matter, my American friend? What has upset you? A bad machine doesn't matter if he's a bad machine. You still don't believe it. You still don't believe you're a bad machine. To know yourself is to know God, my friend. The factory knows, that's why they put you here. You'll see. You'll find out. In time, you'll know.
Oh, I know. I already know. I know that you are a bad machine. That's why the factory keeps you here. Do you know how I know? Huh? I know because I'm from the factory. I make the machines.
You're listening to Jim Dynamo's Bad Machine, home of the intellectual smackdown, where thought exists without error and truth knows no compromise. No quarter is asked, and no quarter is given, as the lies that bind us to the bad machine are torn asunder with unassailable fact and unquestionable reason. So put on your thinking caps and strap yourselves in, and stand by for the original man machine, Jim Dynamo.
When your bags ain't packed.
Decision 2016, the first presidential debate. Good evening from Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York. I'm Lester Holt, anchor of NBC Nightly News. I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate. The participants tonight are
Jim Dynamo
and Hillary Clinton. Candidates, we look forward to hearing you articulate your policies and your positions, as well as your visions and your values. So, let's begin. We're calling this opening segment Achieving Prosperity, and central to that is jobs. There are two economic realities in America today. There's been a record 6 straight years of job growth, and new census numbers show incomes have increased at a record rate after years of stagnation. However, income inequality remains significant, and nearly half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Beginning with you, Secretary Clinton, why are you a better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put more money into the pockets of American workers?
Well, thank you, Lester, and thanks to Hofstra for hosting us. The central question in this election is really what kind of country we want to be and what kind of future we'll build together. Today is my granddaughter's 2nd birthday, so I think about this a lot. First, we have to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. That means we need new jobs, good jobs, with rising incomes. I want us to invest in you. I want us to invest in your future. That means jobs in infrastructure, in advanced manufacturing, in innovation and technology, clean renewable energy, and small business, because most of the new jobs will come from small business. We also have to make the economy fairer. That starts with raising the national minimum wage and also guarantee, finally, equal pay for women's work. I also want to see more companies do profit sharing. If you help create the profits, you should be able to share in them, not just the executives at the top. And I want us to do more to support people who are struggling to balance family and work. I've heard from so many of you about the difficult choices you face and the stresses that you're under. So let's have paid family leave, earn sick days. Let's be sure we have affordable childcare and debt-free college. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it by having the wealthy pay their fair share and close the corporate loopholes. Finally, we tonight are on the stage together.
Jim Dynamo.
Tonight, it's good to be with you. We're going to have a debate where we are talking about the important issues facing our country. You have to judge us. Who can shoulder the immense, awesome responsibilities of the presidency? Who can put into action the plans that will make your life better? I hope that I will be able to earn your vote on November 8th.
Well, Hillary, I see that you've given the typical answers that are trite and nonsensical. And considering you've been in public office for, 30-odd years? And you've accomplished what? Nothing. Lester, let me point something out to you, sir. You mentioned that the economy is at a booming rate. The economy is only at a booming rate if you have a Wall Street portfolio. If you are of the working class, I'm sorry, but up to $5,000 of your annual income has been removed per family member. $5,000 per family member of income has been drained from every household because of the oppressive and unconstitutional Obamacare. Did you realize that, Lester? You probably didn't, because you're of that elite 1%, thanks to your being affirmatively advanced into a position of, media spectacle, media authority. I'm not quite sure what you'd call it, Les, but whatever it is. And back to Hillary Clinton. There is no wage gap between men and women. Men and women pretty much earn the exact same amount of money when they do the exact same job, except women rarely do the same jobs as men, hence them not making the same amount of money. And what's also funny, Secretary Clinton, is that you pay your campaign workers, females, far less than you pay your male campaign workers and staff. Why would you do that if you want equal pay? And this debt-free college, who do you think is going to pay for the college? You're going to tap more from the people who make money in America and give it to the people who do not make money in America so they could what? Get jobs at motor vehicles with their degrees? Ms. Johnson, with her degree at motor vehicles? That's going to do what exactly for the economy? I'll tell you what it's going to do for the economy. Absolutely nothing. You want new jobs. You want new economy in this country. You want to build the infrastructure. You start with education. You start with education where we have children who 70% of American students fail to perform at grade level. If you fail to perform at grade level in school, that means you will fail to do any type of significant amount of work that will return to you and the economy any type of significant benefit. Very simple. So you can talk the usual campus nonsense, but until you actually address the fact that American workers are incapable of doing American jobs, and that the American governments have been slowly crushing and removing the Americans' ability to create their own businesses or work in their own jobs, well, then you're not really prepared to address how to fix the economy, Secretary Clinton. So it starts with education, people. It starts with education, and it starts with removing unions from the American workplace. All right? We need to get back to a merit-based economy where the best people for the job are the only people hired for the job. We have to get rid of those racial and gender quotas, which are poison to any type of progress. You may call it progress, but it's not progress. Okay? You can't earn your position as a female or as any type of minority. You don't belong on the command deck. It's very simple. Back to you, Sec.
Back to the question, though, how do you specifically bring back jobs, American manufacturers? How do you make them bring the jobs back?
Well, the first thing you do is just stop taxing the balls off them. That's the first thing that you do, because that's why they're leaving in the first place. They're leaving because they're getting benefits from these other countries. They're getting paid to bring their businesses to other states. That's why New York was completely deindustrialized over the last 30 years. But America's being deindustrialized for the very same reason. The economy, the unions are destroying the economy. When it takes 4 people to change a light bulb because they're all union, well, you've just paid, $400 to have a light bulb changed when one person could have done it? But you can't do it. It's not allowed under union rules. This is why we have a problem in America. Unions are destroying everything. We get rid of the unions, then American businesses will have incentives to bring their companies back to America, where the workers will be paid at a level more fitting their work and their ability to perform. Very simple. You change a light bulb, you sweep a floor, you don't get the same money that a foreman makes. You don't get the same money that the engineer who created the factory makes. Very simple.
Let me let Secretary Clinton.
Well, let's stop for a second and remember where we were 8 years ago. We had the worst financial crisis, the Great Recession, the worst since the 1930s. That was in large part because of tax policies that slashed taxes on the wealthy, failed to invest in the middle class, took their eyes off of Wall Street, and created a perfect storm.
Secretary Clinton, let me correct you for a second here, sweetheart. The biggest recession since the 1930s was actually the Clinton recession from 1999, which lasted through 2003. We know that you guys don't like to admit that, but we all know that 3 consecutive quarters of negative growth, that's a recession, honey. And that recession has your name on it. The Clinton recession, 1998, 1999, 2000, into the 21st century. You caused the last Great Recession. The big drop in the economy a few years ago, 8 years ago, was when you and your Democrat cronies took over after the midterm elections in 2006, and then suddenly there was a recession because, of course, you needed to crush the Bush economy that was booming after you guys had destroyed it. That's right, we know how it works. We don't forget the past, and unlike Lester, there, fella, you probably have a very short memory because you didn't seem to correct the secretary on her misstatements twice now. But we'll continue. Don't worry, son. I'll fix it all for you.
Is to go back to the policies that failed us in the first place. Independent experts have looked at what I've proposed. They've looked at my plans, and they've said, okay, if we can do this, and I intend to get it done, we will have 10 million more new jobs. Because we will be making investments where we can grow the economy. Take clean energy. Some country is going to be the clean energy superpower of the 21st century.
Jim Dynamo.
That climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. I think it's real that we grip this and deal with it both at home and abroad. And here's what we can do.
Matter of fact, Secretary Clinton, global warming is a hoax. The globe warms because of the sun, nothing else. Only a moron thinks that carbon dioxide, that breath that you exhale, carbon dioxide, is a greenhouse gas. Without carbon dioxide exhaled by mammals like you, the plants that exhale oxygen that we breathe in, well, they have nothing to breathe and they die. And without carbon dioxide, the entire green world, the trees, the grass, the flowers, the algae, the seaweeds, right? The largest source of carbon dioxide in the world is actually the ocean, not any type of man-made industry. But you could continue with that lie, and the Chinese couldn't give a fuck less about global warming, global cooling, global shit, as long as they have something to stuff in their face. So let's not mention the Chinese about anything, all right, honey? It's nonsense, global warming. Global warming, explain how those glaciers that were a mile high where we are right now, just a few thousand years ago, what made them melt? Wouldn't that have been global warming? Did Uku the caveman invent an SUV that none of us saw, that we haven't found it yet? And that SUV warmed the globe so significantly? No? Did the Mount St. Helens eruption in the 1980s actually spew into the atmosphere more greenhouse gases that caused more weather effect than anything that man has done ever? Of course it did. And one more thing, Secretary Clinton. Earth, as it travels through space, slows off behind it on the dark side of the planet, where it's nighttime right now, okay? So much heat energy is drifting off into space on the dark side of the planet right now. Man would have to work for a year to generate that heat energy. So, if man isn't generating enough heat energy, and only the sun is generating enough heat energy, and the heat is actually dissipating off of the planet in incredible amount, what nonsense are you babbling about, this so-called global warming bullshit? Okay? It's nonsense. Know what else is also nonsense? Your clean energy. You don't have any clean energy plans. You don't have anything built whatsoever. You know nothing about energy or clean energy. And right now we're stuck on a fossil-based system because your fossil-based system petroleum companies have squashed all sorts of scientific research and development for all non-petroleum based fuel sources. We know this. It's been 40 years where solar panels could be mandated to be built on every new construction across this country. Every new house, every new home has mandatory solar panels built on top of it. And you know what? Well, that energy would be sent right back into the grid, and then your pals at Con Ed, they wouldn't be able to make all that money anymore. All those power companies that profiteer off of the energy system, off of the recordings, and the TVs, and the internets, and the Wi-Fis, all of it, they're making a profit off of. Do you really think that they want to give you free energy? Of course they don't. So stop talking nonsense.